Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Tanner's Favorite Things. I'm Tanner Knight, and today we have an unboxing for you. So I hope that the rock and roll folks are not too upset that we're focusing more on camera gear at the moment. But as far as my priorities go, I pretty much have everything that I need. I obviously could stand a few more guitars, maybe a few more amps, but at the moment I have what I need. So this new job requires me to spend a lot of time behind a camera, so I've gotten really into the filmography and the videography side of things, as well as photography as well. So today we are going to unbox an item that has something to do with that once again, and it is a camera lens. So let's go take a look. Alright, so in this small box we have an even smaller box, but it's about the shape of a lens, so let's go ahead and open it up. Take a look. Alright, we have the Canon 24 to 105 millimeter RF style lens. There's a lot of other letters associated with this particular lens. You can see here that we have a W and a T. Those are basically our thresholds of how wide and how close you can take this lens in its kind of telephoto style. And we have an image stabilizer on or off, as well as a focus or control option there. So the other letters can be found inside the lens. I don't know if it's going to focus here. There we go. We have the RF 24 to 105 millimeter, f4 to 7.1, and we'll talk more about that in a second, IS STM. So this is a 24 to 105 millimeter lens, and I assume that it winds out like so. Alright, so this is in fact a new Canon lens for my Canon EOS R6 camera. I've spent the better part of the last month and a half getting familiar with this camera, really getting to know it, changing the settings to my likings, and this entire time I've only had one lens. It's a 50 millimeter lens, also a Canon lens with image stabilization, but it'll be nice to have a second lens option, especially one with 24 to 105 millimeters. This is pretty much the catch-all kit lens. This is the lens that will ship with this camera or the R5, sometimes the EOS R, and maybe even the EOS RP, I'm not exactly sure. But either way, it's a very common kit lens for these mirrorless style cameras from Canon. And of course the R6 is one of the later mirrorless Canon releases. So let's go ahead and swap these lenses and talk about what all those letters mean. Alright, so here we are with the 24 millimeter version of this lens, and as you can see we have quite a lot of real estate as compared to that 50 millimeter lens. We'll go ahead and zoom it way in here in a second, but first let's talk about what all these letters mean on this lens. First of all, f4 to 7.1, that means that each one of those f-stop numbers corresponds to the outer number on the actual lens. So the 24 millimeter is 4 f-stop, and at 105 millimeters you're at the 7.1 f-stop. All of those numbers have to do with the ratios that drive those f-stops. So don't get confused by that dual number. It just means that there's one for the inner extreme and one for the outer extreme. The IS, of course, stands for image stabilization. Canon is really known for pushing the envelope on image stabilization in the camera body itself, but they've also pioneered in-lens camera stabilization as well, and this lens does have a stabilization motor. And finally, the STM stands for Canon's stepper motor, which is seen as kind of a lesser technology versus their USM, which is an ultrasonic motor, and the stepper motor just has a little bit more noise, but the other one does too. So it's a win-win situation with the Canon lenses when it comes to autofocus. Just for reference, this 50 millimeter lens does have an f-stop rating of 1.8, and it is also the STM variety, but it's only the 50 millimeter, so it's fixed. Also a really nice lens. So I'm glad to have a second lens in this series. The 24 to 105 looks just like this in construction, and I assume it's going to be just as good quality. So let's go ahead and work it through its paces and push it all the way up to 105 millimeters and see what that looks like. If you want to see what Brave looks like, here's what 105 millimeters looks like way up close in high resolution. I just cranked this thing out, sat back down, and it autofocused on my face perfectly. By the way, I'm using the Atomos Ninja 5 monitor, which is also a built-in recorder, so I'm not using the LCD on the camera, I'm using that higher resolution monitor. But as a result, I can see crystal clear that this lens is doing exactly what I had hoped. Let's see if we can get it close to 50 millimeters and compare against the lens that was just on here. I'm pretty sure that's about 50 millimeters. Let's go ahead and do a side-by-side comparison. We'll have the Canon 50 millimeter lens on the right and the 24 to 105 millimeter on the left, and just compare against one another in the 50 millimeter stop on the lens. So I'm going to leave it at that. That's really all I wanted to accomplish with this video, is to unbox this lens, pop it on, do a close comparison, far comparison, and then somewhere in the middle to kind of match that 50 millimeter lens that I already have. This is going to be my new kit lens, like I said, so you can expect to see more videos shot on this lens in the future. If you have any questions about it, feel free to send them my way. I'd love to hear them. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Hope to see you on the next one.